On this day in history, October 28th. On October 28, 306, Maxentius was proclaimed Roman emperor, marking the beginning of his reign during a period of civil wars. Maxentius ruled over Italy and Africa until his defeat by Constantine in 312. His reign was marked by struggles with rival emperors and efforts to restore the old Roman traditions. Constantine I defeated Maxentius at the Battle of the Milvian Bridge on October 28, 312, becoming the sole Roman emperor in the West. This victory was a turning point for Constantine, who would later convert to Christianity and shape the future of the Roman Empire. The battle also led to the eventual reunification of the Roman Empire under his rule. The Byzantine Empire recovered Antioch from Arab rule on October 28, 969, after years of Islamic control. This conquest was part of the empire's military resurgence under Emperor Nikephoros II Phocas. The recapture of Antioch solidified Byzantine influence in the eastern Mediterranean. On October 28, 1420, Beijing was officially designated the capital of the Ming Dynasty, coinciding with the completion of the Forbidden City. The city's elevation to capital status marked a significant moment in Chinese history, establishing Beijing as the political center of the empire. The Forbidden City became the residence of Chinese emperors for centuries to come. Christopher Columbus landed in Cuba on October 28, 1492, during his first voyage to the New World, mistakenly believing it to be Japan. This discovery was part of his larger quest to find a westward route to Asia. His arrival in Cuba would have significant consequences for the indigenous peoples and for European colonization efforts. On October 28, 1520, Ferdinand Magellan reached the Pacific Ocean, becoming the first European to navigate through the Strait of Magellan. This discovery marked a major milestone in his circumnavigation of the globe, proving the existence of a westward route to Asia. The Pacific crossing was one of the most challenging parts of Magellan's journey. The Universidad Santo Tomás de Aquino was founded on October 28, 1538, in what is now the Dominican Republic. It became the first university in the Americas, playing a significant role in the spread of education and Catholic doctrine in the New World. The institution remains a symbol of the Spanish colonial influence in the Caribbean. The Massachusetts Bay Colony voted to establish a theological college on October 28, 1636, which would later become Harvard University. Initially aimed at training Puritan ministers, the college evolved into one of the world's leading academic institutions. This vote laid the foundation for higher education in the United States. The Treaty of Ripon was signed on October 28, 1640, ending hostilities in the Second Bishops' War between England and Scotland. The treaty forced King Charles I to make significant concessions, weakening his authority. This conflict contributed to the rising tensions that led to the English Civil War. The Duke of York and Albany's Maritime Regiment of Foot, later known as the Royal Marines, was established on October 28, 1664. This military unit became a vital part of British naval operations, playing key roles in many wars and conflicts. The Royal Marines are now one of the most respected military forces in the world. Jonathan Swift's novel Gulliver's Travels was published on October 28, 1726, quickly becoming a literary classic. The satirical work explores human nature and society through the travels of its protagonist, Lemuel Gulliver. Swift's critique of politics, science, and human folly resonated with readers across generations. The United Tribes of New Zealand were established with the signing of the Declaration of Independence on October 28, 1835. This declaration asserted the sovereignty of New Zealand's indigenous Maori chiefs in response to increasing British influence. It laid the groundwork for future negotiations between the Maori and European settlers. U.S. President Grover Cleveland dedicated the Statue of Liberty on October 28, 1886, in New York Harbor. A gift from France, the statue symbolizes freedom and democracy, welcoming immigrants and visitors to the United States. It has since become an iconic landmark and a symbol of American ideals. Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky's Symphony No. 6 in B minor, Potatique, premiered on October 28, 1893 in St. Petersburg, Russia, just 9 days before the composer's death. The emotionally charged symphony was Tchaikovsky's final work, and its tragic tone has been interpreted as a reflection of his inner turmoil. It remains one of his most celebrated compositions. A new Polish government was established in Western Galicia on October 28, 1918, sparking the Polish-Ukrainian War. The conflict arose from competing territorial claims between Poles and Ukrainians over eastern Galicia. The war would shape the future borders of Poland and Ukraine after World War I. Czech politicians peacefully took over the city of Prague on October 28, 1918, establishing the First Czechoslovak Republic. This event marked the end of centuries of Habsburg rule and the birth of an independent Czechoslovakia. The new nation became a symbol of democratic aspirations in Central Europe. The U.S. Congress passed the Volstead Act over President Woodrow Wilson's veto on October 28, 1919, paving the way for Prohibition to begin in 1920. The act enforced the 18th Amendment, which banned the production, sale, and transportation of alcohol in the United States. Prohibition would last for 13 years, having widespread social and legal effects. On October 28, 1922, Italian fascists led by Benito Mussolini marched on Rome, leading to the overthrow of the Italian government. This coup marked the rise of Mussolini's dictatorship and the establishment of a fascist regime in Italy. The event became a defining moment in Italy's political history. Indonesia's future national anthem, Indonesia Raya, was first played on October 28, 1928, during the Second Indonesian Youth Congress. The anthem became a rallying cry for Indonesian independence from Dutch colonial rule. It would later be officially adopted as the national anthem when Indonesia gained independence in 1945. Greece rejected an Italian ultimatum on October 28, 1940, refusing to allow Axis forces to occupy the country. Hours later, Italy invaded Greece from Albania, marking the beginning of the Greco-Italian War. This day, known as Ohi Day, is celebrated in Greece as a national holiday commemorating the nation's resistance. Paul Hermann Muller was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine on October 28, 1948, for his discovery of the insecticidal properties of DDT. This chemical became widely used to combat malaria and other insect-borne diseases. Muller's work had a profound impact on public health, although the environmental effects of DDT later led to its ban. On October 28, 1956, a de facto ceasefire came into effect between Hungarian revolutionaries and Soviet troops in Budapest. The revolution had initially appeared successful, with communist officials and facilities under attack, but the Soviets soon regrouped. The events of 1956 remain a symbol of Hungary's fight for freedom. The Cuban Missile Crisis ended on October 28, 1962, when Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev agreed to remove Soviet missiles from Cuba. This agreement averted a potential nuclear conflict between the United States and the Soviet Union. The crisis marked one of the tensest moments of the Cold War. Pope Paul VI promulgated Nostra Aetate on October 28, 1965, which transformed the Roman Catholic Church's relationship with non-Christian faiths. The declaration recognized the shared spiritual heritage between Christians, Jews, and other religions, fostering greater interfaith dialogue. Nostra Aetate remains a milestone in Catholic teachings on religious tolerance. The United Kingdom launched its first and only satellite, Prospero, on October 28, 1971, using a British rocket. The successful launch marked a significant achievement in British space exploration. Though the program was short-lived, Prospero continues to orbit the Earth as a relic of early British space efforts. On October 28, 2009, NASA successfully launched the Ares IX mission, part of its Constellation program. The mission was intended to test new technologies for future space exploration, though the program was eventually canceled. Despite its short lifespan, the launch marked a step forward in NASA's pursuit of crewed deep space missions. On October 28, 2009, U.S. President Barack Obama signed the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act into law. This legislation expanded federal hate crime protections to include crimes based on sexual orientation, gender identity, and disability. It was a landmark moment in the fight against hate crimes in the U.S. Jair Bolsonaro was elected president of Brazil on October 28, 2018, with 57 million votes, defeating Workers' Party candidate Fernando Haddad. Bolsonaro's election marked the end of 16 years of Workers' Party rule in Brazil. His victory reflected the country's shift to the right in response to corruption scandals and economic challenges. Thank you most sincerely for your time and attention. If you found this presentation enlightening, I encourage you to share it with others, express your appreciation with a like, and consider subscribing for future content. I look forward to your company in the next installment.